This is Amy Chan from CakeDecoratingSchool.com, and if you like cake decorating, you're in the right place. Welcome to our flower series. In this video, we're piping buttercream begonias. It's broken down into steps so you can skip ahead, rewind, and rewatch as desired. Let's start by making our colors. We're going to make two today. First, kind of nice orangey shade, and second, a yellow. We're going to be making adorable little begonia flowers. I'm going to use all American style buttercream and the following liquid gel colors. My sunset orange, which you can see gets a heavy workout, my lemon yellow, and finally some neon bright pink. I'm going to start with my orange and just put in nice healthy 2 drops of that and just a little bit of my neon bright pink. Just kind of give it a little dab. Get a little in there. I want it to be kind of a peachy orange, have a little of that brightness in there too. Begonias come in a lot of beautiful colors, so if you don't like orange, you can always make them in a variety of pinks and other shades as well. I think that's going to be a beautiful shade. I'm just going to pull a little bit over to the side, add a little more pink to it. I'm just going to kind of loosely, lightly stripe my bag with it. So just get most of my orange over here, a little bit over here. I'm just going to add a little pink to the stuff on this side. I like these big cups in part for this reason. It's easy just to kind of make a second color right over here on the edge. That's looking nice. I think I'm just going to add a little more to it. Just to make sure I get a nice difference in the two shades. And I like how that's looking. We've got a nice little change in those two colors. Next, I'm going to make just a little bit of yellow for my centers. So I've got a tiny bit of buttercream down in the bowl. You don't really need a lot. A little will go a long way. I'm just going to add a little of that lemon yellow. Oh, I want to make a nice bright shade that'll really pop out against the kind of peachy orange colors that we made. Just give this a mix around and make sure it's got enough yellow in it. And I think that is more than going to do it. It's nice, bright lemon yellow. We are going to use two 12-inch disposable decorating bags. They're both fitted directly with the tip. Our bag of orange is fitted with a 104 tip. And as you can see, I've lined it up so that my darker color is at the top of the bag, so it's going to come out the skinny end of the tip, and my lighter color is lined up with the fat end of the tip. It's very easy to do. Just use a small spatula to smear a nice line of that dark orange on the top while you have the bag open, and then just feed the other color in the other side. And when you push forward, it should push forward together, and it should come out the way you want it to. If you're a little off on how you stripe your bag, you can always adjust your tip a little bit before you push the color all the way down. For our yellow, we're using a number 2, so any plain, small, round tip will do the job. Let's review the techniques that we're going to use to create our begonias. First, for the petals, we're going to be using our 104 tip, and we're going to do 2 different styles. First, a teardrop. So we're going to do a kind of classic shape on our petal where we pull out, rotate, and then pull back to give it a nice rounded shape with a little bit of a taper towards the center. And the second is going to be a narrow one. And in order to control the width, I find it's easier to rock the back end of the bag up. A lot of times when we're doing petals, we have it in that kind of flat position to really allow the frosting to flow out of the tip. if you angle it up, you're kind of blocking or impeding it. So it makes it a lot easier to create narrow shapes. So if you have it at a 45-degree angle, if you're still having trouble, you can rock it up a little further. Fat end still towards the center, skinny end still going to be pointing out towards the edge of the nail. But when we do it, we can pull out and back quickly. And you can see that gives us a really narrow petal. And finally, for this one, we're going to need a support for one of the petals. So we're just going to pipe a small little fan or wedge shape just flat on the surface, just to give ourselves something to pipe on top of. For our centers, we're going to use our bag of yellow with our number 2, and we're going to do a little clump of spikes. So think nice, frilly, hairy, kind of long, all directions. We just want to squeeze, let that dot of frosting connect, and pull up and away while we're still squeezing. And that'll give you that nice long trail. And if they flop over, that's fine, but we just want to do a little clump of them in the center. And as you go around the central one, they'll kind of help support each other. So don't worry if the first few flop over, just keep going until you get a nice little center of hairy, frilly spikes. So let's discuss how we're going to take the techniques we just reviewed to build our blossoms. First, we want to think about the area we're piping on our flower nail, as it's kind of divided into 4 quadrants. So imagine a cross or an X there in the middle. And we're going to make these petals, 4 of them. So you want to think about it like head, body, and then the 2 arms for those 2 narrow ones. And the first thing we're going to do is above that midline, we're going to pipe a support fan right underneath where that head petal would be. We're then going to pipe that petal on top of it, so it's going to be up at a little angle, and it's going to have a little bit of depth to it. And then the second one for the body is going to be flat against the surface. So this is going to create a little bit of an angle there, a little bit of an interest, a little bit of depth, and that kind of characteristic vibe that begonias have. Next, we're going to just change the angle of our bag a little bit, lift it up so we can put those 2 narrow petals in right there on that axis as if they're those little arms. And then I'm going to grab my bag of yellow with my number 2 tip and do a clump of little stamens there in the center. So it's going to give it that little frilly, hairy center and that bright pop of yellow. And also it's going to cover up any little, I don't know, not really mistakes, but any little imperfections where all your frosting meets together at the center of this flower. So I have my bag with my orange colors and my 104 tip. I've got a nice small flower nail. I think like a 2-inch nail is fine. And I just want to imagine there's a line going across the center, and right in the middle, right above that line, is where we're going to pipe our little support fan. So not too fat, just nice and thick, just a little wedge there. There we go, so that we can pipe that first petal on top of it. And if you go too fat, it might be fatter than your petal. So just keep that in mind. It just has to be little and offer a little bit of support. Now I'm going to set up to pipe my first petal, and I'm just going to rock the opening of the tip up a little bit so it's kind of pointing at a 45-degree angle. The bag is really in the same position, and I'm going to pipe a teardrop shaped petal. So pull out, rotate, and then pull back right on top of that support fan. So now I've spun my nail around, and I'm going to do my little body teardrop. So right at the base of the first one, another teardrop shaped petal right there to meet up. So now I'm going to do my 2 narrow petals. I've just rotated the back end of the bag up some, and we're going to go out and back really quickly for those narrow ones, 1 on each side. And this is going to join my little blossoms together. To finish off your little flowers, we're just going to pull those nice little stamens right there in the middle. You can do them longer. Sometimes I like to just make them nice and short, but that gives us an adorable little begonia blossom. If you enjoyed this video, try checking out some of our other flower series videos. Perhaps one on our daisies would be a great one if you want to work on some different styles of petals. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like more about the cake decorating materials and equipment we use, or just some inspirational videos about cake decorating itself, you can follow us on Insta or YouTube at Cake Decorating School. If you'd like to know more about yearly membership and what it entails, you can go to www.cakedecorating.school.com for more information. And if you're interested in these products, you can check the links in the description.